everyone, it's that time again where we set off on a journey to find Kerala's most beautiful home. Welcome to a brand new episode of Idea Dream Home Season 3. Straight away, I'd like to welcome my judges to today's episode. We have architect T.G. Ramesh from the Ramesh Group of Associates, architect Shaina Rajesh from Building Concepts, and architect Ruben Koshi from Studio 5. They've been through several of these days, lots of houses so far. Ini, we're pretty much winding up because these are the Hello everyone, it's that time again where we set off on a journey to find Kerala's most beautiful home. Welcome to a brand new episode of Idea Dream Home Season 3. Straight away, I'd like to welcome my judges to today's episode. We have architect T.G. Ramesh from the Ramesh Group of Associates, architect Shaina Rajesh from Building Concepts, and architect Ruben Koshi from Studio 5. They've been through several of these days, lots of houses so far. Ini, we're pretty much winding up because these are the last few of the 50 houses that we have as entries on the show. I'm sure you guys will love today's house because I don't think we've seen too many waterside houses in this particular season. So we've got a very interesting house with an interesting name. It's called Laughing Waters. Let's hope it brings a smile to all your faces, if not laughter. Check it out. Already taken a look at our visual of Laughing Waters. I'm sure all of you sitting at home loved it completely. But our judges here are judging on the basis of a few basic listed parameters. So let's hear what they have to say. Rameshji, ആദ്യം തന്നെ exteriors, your first look at this house, എന്താണ് മനസ്സിലായത്?
It's a typical English type of elevation. But I think, you know, from the viewpoint of the settings, I mean, this is an excellent house, and the landscaping also done very well. But I think something more could have been done for the landscape, because slightly the demarcation between the paved and the green areas could have been done. And I think that the elevation also, you know, it's a straight faced elevation, could have played with some 3D effects, and you know, it would have been much better. Otherwise, I would say it's a good elevation, and it's a monotone house, you know, with white and few colors. Yeah. So that's a good thing.
Okay, lovely. Ruben, what would you like to say about the exteriors of Laughing Waters?
Well, the settings are absolutely fantastic. I mean, if not for those coconut trees, it could be in the British Isles somewhere, you know.
It could be anywhere in the world.
Could be anywhere. I mean, it's beautiful. So coming to the styling of the house, I mean, nowadays when the client is king and he wants something like this, you do it. I mean, like, so whether it is appropriate or not is something else.
Irrelevant.
But I think for this kind of house, this is the way it is. I mean, like, this is the way they are done outside, and if for whatever reason, maybe he's West returned and he really likes the style of housing. So he was very keen on something like that. So I think the authenticity of the styling is there, you know, and nice wide verandas. I mean, it'd be a pleasure to actually sit there and watch the rains, look at the boats go by, try your hand at fishing maybe.
I wouldn't stay there every day because you'll get absolutely no work done.
If you had a choice, you would.
That's true.
Yeah,
if I had the money to just chill.
If you have the money, you will. Yeah, but so I'm saying, so I think it's an ideal, and from the planning perspective, I mean, we'll come to that, but looks like it's like a weekend getaway for an extended family, you know. And so in those kind of situations, I don't think the landscape is very important because the focus is on the water.
Yeah.
So you'd like to leave it kind of plain and, of course, neatly done, but you don't like too many frills on the landscape and distract the view of the water. Yeah. And I love the grey driveway, and wherever lawns are there, the grey goes very well with the green and with the white house. So I think the authenticity is really very high. Okay. And the setting is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, we have to stress on that. Shaina, what would you like to say about this?
Let's talk about the landscape and the setting. A picture perfect setting actually, and the coconut trees, we saw the framing of the coconut trees. It framed the building as well as it framed the lake from the building. So the sight from the building would really be good, especially in the evening shots which we saw. And I think the house has been designed on the lines of an American house, typical with the typical attic windows, the typical long verandas, the handrails, all that has been, you know, followed in this, and the slatted walls, everything has come into being. So considering that fact, I think the client was particular in having that sort of an elevation. Normally we see a traditional Kerala style of elevation facing the lake, but this is a different elevation we see, and it's facing a beautiful landscape.
I know. So definitely, I think for me, as soon as I saw it, fida ho gayi. Water does that to me. Now marks now come, shall we? Ruben on 30.
24.
24 from you. Shaina?
25.
25. Rameshji?
22.
22. Okay, now, of course, we've already said that it's based on like an American or an English kind of a cottage, a big house. Planning, is that any different from the regular houses we've seen? Is it practical? Ruben?
Yeah, well, I think planning, you have to keep in mind the function of the house, which is not probably, as we see it, doesn't function like an everyday home.
Okay.
It is a weekend home for an extended family. So keeping that in mind, there are restrictions on, you want this house to actually be an extroverted house. You want it to look out more than give, for example, a courtyard inside. You don't, it's not required. So I think the context is very important and the purpose is very important. So that's why the planning is simplified. I mean, as far as possible, all the rooms face the veranda, and you don't have grills on the windows, so you don't want the vision to be blocked. So you have to think it in a different way, why the house is done like this. So for that, planning is very straightforward. All the windows face the water. Everybody looks out into the water. Maybe the area in front of the big area left in front of the house is meant for outdoor activity like a barbecue or a gathering or a fun event.
Games,
some games. It's ideal for all that. So I think that is very much taken into the planning of the house. The toilets are very neat, I thought, absolutely neat. Kitchen is probably not a very fully functional kitchen, but what they have done well. I think in this kind of situation, planning perspective, couple of areas I saw beams running through the rooms. So I think maybe it could be for structural reasons, maybe because you needed a particular way out. So those kind of, even if you have a simple false ceiling, just a plain white false ceiling, it will avoid those awkward beams coming in. Visual disturbance is there. So I think otherwise, I think it looks pretty efficient.
Saina?
We have seen a lot of houses with open plan concepts, so this is completely, away from that, because it's a closed concept. We can see, we enter the foyer area, we see the staircase directly from there. Like we talked about the exteriors and the American concept, probably the interiors also have been planned along those lines. The formal living room is towards the left. It is closed off by a door, so maybe the family doesn't want everyone to enter the room always. It's like on a daily routine, they are seeing each other the whole time. So when they come out here for a family weekend or something, they don't want to be for themselves. Each family to themselves, probably that's the reason. The dining room, all the rooms open to the large veranda in front, and which had a vista towards the lake. The bedrooms were simple. I think maybe because they're not staying there forever, that's why it's sparsely furnished. Even the living room furniture, I think they could have added more furniture to it. The dining room also was, like the cabinet, the crockery shelf was missing. We could just see the TV placed there. The kitchen, I think it was more of a pantry sort of thing. Considering the utility purpose of the building, I think the planning was okay.
Okay, lovely. And Ramesh, you have taken that about the planning.
I think the planning is very simple and straightforward. I mean, utilize the lake and the scenery to the maximum by giving all the bedroom views to the this thing, and basically very simple. And the architect has tried to keep that as a Bible and proceed like that, and without any additions and very simple, straightforward planning, and I liked it.
You liked it. Okay, so let's see whether they like the marks that you're going to give them for this segment. Shaina, on 30?
22.
Ramesh,
22.
Ruben?
Exactly 22.
Areva, not bad. Okay, we've already heard our judges say that maybe because it's a holiday home, the furniture and all that is like sparsely done. But let's find out more about the interiors. I'll start with you, Shaina.
Very pure interiors, very simple, very clean, no frills, no fuss, nothing. You could just see white, white and white. I guess they could have added a bit of color here and there, but there was one room where they added a bit of color, but that was a bit too red. Because compared with the simplicity of the whole house, as soon as you enter that room, you see a lot of red.
Yeah.
So maybe they could have toned down that red a little bit. All the other rooms, had that English sort of feel to it, because everything was white. The furniture in the living room had that English touch. The furniture had that English touch. The dining room table, was covered with white linen and the white tablecloth. The bedrooms were too simple. I think they had some wall hangings in the dining room and in the living room. The bedrooms could have been paid a little more attention, but maybe because they use it once in a while, maybe that's the reason. The toilets were very simple, light colors were used. Basically, like a monochromatic scheme. I just saw some colors here and there. I think for the staircase, the risers were of a different color, and the splash of red. Other than that, all of a monochromatic scheme.
Ramesh, interiors are?
I really appreciate the client for sticking to one style throughout and maintaining it till the every last detail. And like the choosing of the white color, the selection of the furniture was also done in that old-fashioned furniture. And same thing, the monotonous, but something more could have been done for the interiors. I think some spaces are lying vacant.
Yeah.
They could have filled in with some of the furniture somewhere, and so that's missing. But basically, a very neat design.
Okay, Ruben.
Yeah, that's what I think also. I mean, the authenticity is taken off right from the exterior to the interior. It's a very clinically done interior with a lot of white being used, and like it's done outside. Lot of the woodwork is also painted white, except for living room furniture. I think in that case, even the dining room didn't really need the dining table. Didn't really need the cloth. I mean, the classical style of the table could have been exposed. The bathrooms are done, like I said, very neatly. The bedrooms, again, little bit on the sparse side, but I think, again, going with the concept of the house where you don't want anything to actually distract too much. You know, you want people to actually spend more time on the verandas. You had very authentic looking verandas with a type of clock sticking out. And so I think small details were done very passionately, you know. So I think you have to give a lot of credit for that.
All right. ഇനി ഇതിൻ്റെ മാർക്സിലേക്ക് കിടക്കാം. Ruben, what would you like to score this at?
22.
22. Shaina?
23.
And finally, Rameshji?
20.
20. Okay, Ini, we've got one little segment. It's called the special feature, of course, and I can pretty much guess what the special feature is. Rameshji, what do you think?
The special effects is the location and the simplicity, and I give mark for the simplicity.
You give it for that. Shaina?
The smile that Laughing Waters brought to my face.
And Ruben?
No, I think it's the, for me, it's the overall authenticity of the building, in the sense like, I mean, it is arguable whether it's appropriate or not, but that's something else. But whatever they've done it with a lot of passion.
Okay, lovely. So let's see how much that passion gets them for the special feature segment. Rameshji on 10?
6.
6 on 10. Ruben?
8 for the passion.
And finally, for your smile, Shaina.
5.
5. Okay. Well, at the end of the day, it was a fresh house here contesting for the top position. But now let's find out how much Laughing Water scores with our judges. Ruben on 100.
Total of 74.
74, which is definitely a good enough score. Shaina?
75.
75. And finally, Rameshji, where do you stand?
70.
Hopefully, we'll get a lot more entries just like this, but unfortunately, I think we're close to the end of Idea Dream Home Season 3. I just have maybe about 4 or 5 houses more coming our way, and then, well, it gets really sticky and difficult for our judges and you guys as well. So watch every episode.